Hello, welcome to this week's Battle of the Ports as we take a look at Nigel Mansell's World Championship Racing from Gremlin Graphics. Now, if you're in your early 30s or younger, you may not know who Nigel Mansell is. Well, he was a British racing driver who competed in Formula 1 from 1980 to 1995. Mansell won the Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship in 92 and won 31 Grand Prix across 15 seasons. Mansell also won the IndyCar World Series in 1993 with Newman Haas Racing, and remains the only driver to have simultaneously held both the World Drivers' Championship and the American Open Wheel National Championship. So yeah, Nigel's a bit of a legend. The game started life on the Amiga in 1992, so that's the version we'll start off with. Being licensed by Nigel Mansell, the game followed the 1992 Formula 1 season, which he won. The player takes on Mansell's role to try and win the title against 11 other real-life drivers that were still active in their careers by the time the game was launched. Like Sega's own Super Monaco GP, each of them belongs to their own team. Although the rival car's colours resemble the actual constructor's colours by that time, only Mansell's character wears a suit that is the same colour of his team's, blue. Mansell is also the only character to have its own sprite, distinguished by his signature mustache and cap. All the other drivers are shown with similar sprites, all of them in yellow racing suits. Gameplay modes consist of a single race, participate in a season of Formula 1, or skill practice on a particular racetrack. If you don't choose the arcade mode in the game, the changing of tyres is mandatory in the pit lane during the middle of each race, and weather can determine whether the player should use hard tyres, soft tyres or rain tyres. Of course, before the beginning of the race it is possible to change some aspects of the car, such as spoilers, tyres and gearbox. Overall, this is an average racer, with at least one redeeming feature. This game actually allows you to map accelerate and brake to separate buttons. No more having to push up or down to accelerate or brake. Next up is the Amiga CD32 port, and as you'd expect, this is identical to the Amiga 12000 version, as far as the core game is concerned. A new CD soundtrack has been added, but the volume is way too loud, resulting in you not being able to hear the actual game audio. The ability to change controls was removed, but apart from that, this is the same as the Amiga version. Welcome to Nigel Mansell's Flickbook Racing. Oh yes, this Atari ST version is just like thumbing through a flickbook, the frame rate is that poor. As a result, it also handles like crap. Sadly, I can't show you the full game as it's protected by a passcode, which there seems to be no crack for. Thankfully, this demo version works. In the Atari ST's defense, at least this one had a circuit map during racing. DOS port is next, and it surprisingly looks quite different to the Amiga and ST version. This one has more roadside objects and possibly slightly better frame rates at times. However, I find that the car takes longer to reach at top speed, and the collision detection on roadside objects needs to be toned down somewhat, as it's too sensitive. But even with the boost in graphics, this is still a pretty average game. The 8-bit systems now, starting with the ZX Spectrum. Now on the plus side, the sprites are large and the range sounds okay. And yeah, maybe that's it. The game is basically impossible to play due to the super low frame rate, resulting in some of the most unresponsive controls I've used in a racing game. Sorry Specky fans, but this one is a dud. Poor Amstrad CPC owners got shafted once again with a shitty port of an already shitty ZX Spectrum game. Just like the Specky version, this is completely unplayable. By I'd say it's running at about 3 or 4 frames per second. We're finally done with the computers and now onto the consoles, starting with the NES. This isn't a bad version of the game. It's fast and moves at a reasonable frame rate, but the game is tough. Getting past cars is harder than it should be. This really hampers the gameplay into being more frustrating than it should be. The menu system is also quite ugly with browns and muddy greens on black backgrounds. Still, at least this one plays much better than the ZX Spectrum and Amstrad CPC. In fact, playing one of those Tiger LCD games would be more fun than those two. Next is the Game Boy, and boy is this abysmal. The opening presentation is good enough, but the game stinks. The main issue is that you can't see where you're going. Either you're battling with the poor draw distance, a massive car blocking your view, or corners popping out of nowhere. It's also very tough to get past the opponent cars because they take up the entire track, with the short draw distance really hampering any chance to see where you can move to. Sorry, but no thanks. Moving on to the 16-bit versions now with the Mega Drive, and man, this is a vast improvement over the Amiga, ST and PC. Just look at how smooth it is, plus the amount of roadside objects that litter the course. I'm very surprised by this, as I was expecting some 30 frames per second jerky mess. The audio is also quite nice with some beefy bass riffs. It's just a shame that the sample drum hits aren't done well. Something else that's not done well are the course layouts. They are probably not as accurate as those found on the Amiga and PC, but still, a small price to pay for such fluidity. And we'll end with the Super Famicom version, and can I say I've left the best till last? I sure can. This is the ultimate version of Nigel Mansell's World Championship Racing. The graphics are great, the frame rate is smooth, and the engine sounds the closest to an F1 car, and the handling is sublime. This game really does handle well. The braking into corners feels so right. Unlike the other versions where you may clip a corner due to poor controls, in this version it's your fault, not the controls. It truly is that nice to play. And let's take a look at all those versions of Nigel Mansell's World Championship Racing running side by side.